Good evening and welcome to our evening reflection. I've been studying parts of the book of Deuteronomy recently, and particularly the period during which Moses was preparing the children of Israel for their move from the wilderness to the promised land. You'll remember that they'd been wandering in the wilderness for 40 years as a result of their rejection of God's instructions to them following the crossing of the Red Sea when they left captivity in Egypt. And God had made it clear that none of the adults who were living at that time would enter the promised land except for Joshua. Even Moses himself would not be allowed to go with them. And so Moses is now preparing the people who had been born in the desert during those 40 years by reminding them of the laws that they'd been given as the 10 Commandments at Sinai. Moses was explaining that if they obeyed the commandments of God, then they would inherit this promised land, and that God would protect them and provide for them as they defeated the people currently living in those lands. But Moses also warned them that if they failed to obey, then if they turned to worship other gods and idols, then he would punish them and they would struggle to survive in that land. Moses knew that Joshua would take over the responsibility for leading the people as they moved into this promised land. And he knew that it would be a challenge. And he encouraged Joshua with these words from Deuteronomy chapter 31. It says, "Be strong and courageous, for it is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Fear not, neither be dismayed." And those particular words are special to me because in 1955, would you believe, at a Crusader camp in Suffolk, as a 15-year-old, I accepted for the first time that Jesus had died on that cross for me, and I needed to make a personal commitment to follow him. And one of the leaders who was with me when I made that commitment, he gave me that verse from Deuteronomy as an encouragement for my journey in the Christian life. And God has been true to his word through the 69 years since then. Through all the many challenges that life has brought. Through the challenges of a working life that has involved moves from one part of the country to another on a number of occasions. A life that has involved marriage, being children, and even grandchildren. A life that has included being heavily involved in a variety of churches, Anglican, Episcopal, and Baptist. And through all of these challenges, the Lord has remained faithful, even through the times when it was a struggle to understand just what was happening and why we've been led in particular ways, and when things happened that were difficult to accept at the time. But looking back, it's so clear that God has been in control, that he does give us strength and courage, that he doesn't fail us, and we have no need to fear or despair. And so I would encourage you to take note of Moses' words to Joshua. I would encourage you to apply them in your own lives and situations so that you can say with me, "Thank you, Lord, for going before me, for leading me, for your strength and guidance through the good times and through the struggles." It worked for Joshua, it works for me, and it will work for you. Enjoy the rest of your day.